Hello, lovely student. Welcome to Lesson 2 on string manipulation. Today we're going to be looking at predefined string functions that are built into the program. And these functions, firstly, the first one we're going to be looking at is going to determine the number of characters in a string. And the second function is we're going to learn how to change the case of any string. So let's take a look at it. So remember, a string is a list of characters put together, and a string is written in single quotes. Also remember that a string must be indexed, and the index of a string starts at index 1. But in order to index a string, I must determine the number of characters in a string. So the length function is going to return the number of characters in a string. And because it is a function will return a value. So length is a built-in function. It's a predefined function. And this function, when called, is going to return the number of characters in a string. It's going to tell us how many characters does the string have. Also remember that the length of the string is equal to the number of characters in a string. So let's look at an example. So I've got a string, learning IT is fun, exclamation mark. If I'm using length, when called, length will take this argument, that is the variable sent, which is storing learning IT is fun. So sent is passed as an argument to this function. And when the function length is called, it's going to return the result, which is the number of characters in a string. So len is now going to store 19. So length will return the number of characters as an integer value. Hence, I've created a variable called len, which is of data type integer. Again, length returns the number of characters in a string as data type integer. The next function is uppercase. When we write text, we can write text in either uppercase or lowercase characters. Uppercase and lowercase characters have different values on the character table. And this character table is known as the Unicode table. And there's a specific Unicode character for each letter of the alphabet, both lowercase and uppercase characters. So let us look at some functions that we can use to convert a string or a character to a capital letter or a small letter. So the first one is uppercase. Uppercase can only be used with a character. So C letter is of data type char. I'm converting a single character to a capital letter. Uppercase converts a single character to a capital letter, and I'm storing it back into my variable called C letter. Uppercase will take an entire string and convert it into capital letters. Uppercase is also a function that will return an argument, which is sent, and it will convert that argument to capital letters and store it in a variable back into the same variable called sent. We can do the same thing using lowercase, and if I wanted to convert send to all lowercase characters, instead of using uppercase, I could just use lowercase. Let's take a look at an activity that I am going to be programming in Delphi this morning. Write a program that takes a sentence as input from the user using a t-edit called EDT sentence, and we are going to determine the number of characters in the sentence. We're going to change the sentence to all uppercase characters or capital letters, and then we're going to display how many characters in the sentence, and we're going to display the sentence changed into uppercase. Let's take a look at the Delphi program. Okay, so I have a Delphi program and it's called Change Case. I've got my GUI, a panel with a heading called String Manipulation, a label that says Enter a Sentence, a t-edit renamed EDT sentence that will allow the user to input a sentence, a memo to do display, and a button called Change Case. Let's code the button to see how this program is going to work. So the first thing I'm going to do is create variables. So let's create a variable called sSend, and sSend is going to be of data type string. And all I'm doing with sSend is getting a value from the edit box called EDT sentence dot text. I first want to determine the length of the sentence, how many characters. So let's create a variable called ilen, and ilen is going to be of data type integer, because remember, length returns the number of characters in a sentence as data type integer. So ilen, I'm going to use the function length, and length is going to bring in sSend as an argument. Remember, length is a function, and this function brings in the sentence that is entered onto the t-edit. It's been brought in as an argument to this function, and it is going to return, the function is going to return the number of characters and store it in a variable called ilen, which is of data type integer. Let's display, we could display, so let's use the memo to display. .lines.add, and I want to display the number of characters. Remember, a string literal, the number of characters. And we join a string literal with a plus sign, but remember it does string concatenation, and I want to display the number of characters. And because it's of data type integer and I'm displaying on a memo, I need to convert from integer to string. Okay, so that will display the number of characters. I then need to take the sentence and convert it. So we can store it back into sSend. I need to take the original sentence and convert it using uppercase. Uppercase is a function. Again, I need to pass the sentence as an argument. So I'm passing sSend as an argument. And all uppercase is going to be doing is converting this sentence into all capital letters, and it's going to store it back into my variable called sSend. Let's now display it. I'm just going to copy that line of code and amend it. So just copy and we can display it. And all I'm going to be saying, we can just make a change of that. The changed sentence is, and I need to display the value that is stored in S sent. Okay, if you go into edit and you say format source, it then structures your coding very neatly and makes it very neat in terms of your display, your layout, but it also makes it very readable. Let's run this program and see what happens. Okay, so let's enter a sentence. Today is a magnificent day. What a beautiful day. Just teaching you, lovely student. Okay, so when I go change case, remember one, it's going to give me the number of characters in the sentence, and it's also going to change it into all capital letters. Okay, so it displays the number of characters is 26 as an integer value, and the change sentence is today is a magnificent day in all capital letters. Okay, so let's do one more technique and scale into this existing program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a character variable, and it's of data type char. Okay, I'm just going to comment these lines of code. Okay, and let's work on the existing program. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a value C letter using an input box. So let's use an input box. And remember, an input box is called with 3 parameters. And the first parameter is your prompt message. So let's just put letter, get letter. And if I'm using an input box and I want to get a character, it's always at index 1. And now that you've done string manipulation and you've learned that a string starts at index 1, and that when I extract part of a string at index 1, and if I wanted just the first character, I got to call it in square brackets. I got to use square brackets. So I'm going to get the first character, which is of data type char. So C letter, and all I'm doing is I'm going to convert using uppercase. I'm going to convert that particular letter, and remember uppercase is also a function, and I'm sending C letter in as an argument. And what uppercase is going to do is it's going to convert that character into all uppercase character. Let's just display on the memo. .lines.add, and all I want to display is just, let's put in a string literal since we're learning string literals. The changed letter is, and the value that is stored in C letter. Let's run this and see how it works. Okay, so we're getting a value, and let's enter P. And it says the change letter is a capital letter P. Let's run it again and see what happens if the user enters a string. So if the user had to enter many characters, change case. And if the user had to enter, let me enter Monday, So let's see what's going to happen. So although the user entered a string, a number of characters, because I stipulated only the first character, it converted only the first character to capital letters. Thank you, learners, for listening. It was wonderful teaching you. Be inspired, stay motivated, and follow me on my next video.